Okay, so we've talked about the infants. Now it's time for the toddlers. So everybody has different definitions for these terms, and I suppose I could have said that before, but this really comes into play in the toddler world. So some people consider infants up to 18 months. In our definition, we did 0 to 12 months, okay? And toddlers, for our course, for our definition, is going to be from 13 months until they turn 3. Okay, so we've got about 2 years there. And so we're going to talk a little bit about what happens in that year and a half, I guess, actually, in the year and a half that toddlers are learning how to become, well, I wouldn't say functional members of society because we've all met toddlers and they're not really functional members of society, but they are learning a tremendous amount. We talked before about them learning about object permanence, that things can exist even when you can't see them or hear them or smell them, which is a big deal. And it's much more important now that people are having Zoom meetings or FaceTime with grandma and grandpa, when they're having actual communication with people who they can't see and touch in real life. Okay, so that object permanence thing is a big deal. We also talked about how they are developing their rotocuff, right? They're learning how to move their shoulders. But I think the thing that gives toddlers a bad name is everything they're learning in the social emotional realm. We didn't talk about social emotional so much in the infants because mostly they're learning, this is a caregiver, somebody I identify with, this is not. So all they're doing is familiar, not familiar. They're not doing a whole lot other than that. In the toddler world, they're starting to separate from their caregivers. And so they do some very interesting behaviors where they have a hard time separating. It's a little different from the separation anxiety you might have in the baby room, because this is much more about that object permanence concept, right? That if my parent goes away, they might not come back, which is a scary, scary thought, because it probably happened at some point that mom dropped off and then dad picked up, or dad dropped off and mom picked up. What's going on here? Okay, so that's what happens there with that separation anxiety. So they have a hard time separating from their parents in the morning, which is hard on the teacher. And then at the end of the day, they may have a hard time separating from you to go to the parents, which is hard on the parents. So the separation anxiety and the transition from one activity to another is a huge part of what toddlers are learning. That you can stop eating snack and go wash your hands to go outside. It's okay. You can move from one activity to another. Transitions are hard for toddlers because they have started to develop a little of what we call agency, which is the ability for them to have control over what they do, because now they can walk and they're starting to talk. Okay, so we've got these 1-year-olds, these 2-year-olds, and they can walk and they can talk. And that means they're going to start saying no. Or when you try to pick them up so that you can put on their shoes, they're going to run away from you, or they're going to say no, or that hurts my heart, which is probably the toddler saying that breaks my heart the most, is when they say, it hurts my heart when you say that. Oh, breaks my little heart. So an awful lot of what the toddlers are doing in those 2 years of life is that they're learning how to communicate and work within a larger society. So they're learning what mine means, and what stop means, and what no means. And I have met people who think that we should never tell a toddler no, stop, or mine. Okay, well, those are power words, and we have to teach children words that have power. In part because another toddler thing that can become quite a problem is that toddlers bite. Some toddlers only bite furniture. Some toddlers only bite paper, but most toddlers do bite other human beings. And it's because of what we were just talking about. It's because they have learned that other people have power over them and they don't like it. And other people can take your toys. Oh, the gall of them. Or they may have something in their lunch that you wanted in your lunch and you don't have it. So if you bite them, maybe you can get it. So biting generally happens to gain attention, out of frustration, or to gain something. Okay? So to get attention is not why anybody starts biting, but it's this thing that they learn because toddlers are little sponges and they soak up new information like nobody's business. And somebody bit somebody else, or maybe they bit somebody, and then it was like a firework went off in the room. People were making loud noises. There was lots of movement. It was so exciting. So sometimes toddlers bite because your classroom got a little boring. So that's a possibility. Biting usually starts either out of frustration or in order to gain something. So somebody took my toy, I bite them. That's frustration. I don't want to take a nap. I bite you. That's frustration. I'm all out of Cheerios. I bite you. That's frustration. Okay. I want something. Oh, he has the Tonka truck. I forgot we had a Tonka truck. I want the Tonka truck. I bite him. He drops the Tonka truck. I get the Tonka truck. Okay, so sometimes it's to get something, either something someone else has or something that they think this is the only way they can get it. So, and sometimes that thing they want is adult attention. Okay, so it's not quite like the child who is throwing a firework in the classroom by biting. It's kind of, oh, you haven't noticed me in a while. How about if I bite this person, then I'll have to sit on your lap. Okay, it's a little different motivation there. So biting, throwing, separation anxiety. Why would anybody want to have a toddler? Why would anybody want to be a toddler teacher if all these negative things are happening? Well, toddlers are also amazing. They are tiny little scientists. They are trying to learn about something called proxemics, which is where is their body end? Where's the end of my body? How does it fit in the universe? So they're trying to climb over, under, around, and through. They're tiny little American Ninja Warriors or scientists. What happens if I put this on top of that? What happens if I take all of the clothes off of every doll in the classroom? What happens to that roly-poly if I put a leaf in front of it? What happens to this ant if I pick it up and let it crawl around on my fingers? What happens, what happens, what happens? They are trying everything. They are so excited by new things, and they are wonderful creatures of habit. So if you don't want to learn lots of new things, work in a toddler room. Because you can have 10 books that you read for the rest of your life if you're a toddler teacher. They like to do the same thing in the same order every day. And if you have to change something, like usually you go outside after everybody washes their hands from snack, but today it is raining cats and dogs, then you simply tell them before you sit down for snack that today, instead of going outside, you're going to do whatever. Okay, so Why do toddlers care so much about routine? They're learning about time. That's how they learn time, is that this is the next thing that happens. They can't read a clock. They don't know if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, but they do know that the day before they get to spend 2 days at home, they always have fish sticks, if you have fish sticks on Friday or whatever. So they learn those routines and they become amazing predictors of what's going to happen next because, like I said, they're scientists and they've been observing. They haven't been keeping a lab notebook because they don't know how to read or write, but they are incredible scientists. They want to learn new things all the time. And they are also learning how to be friends. And watching little toddlers get a best friend who they follow around and, you know, they can become inseparable. So the other thing that toddlers are learning is how to have basic friendships. It's not in-depth friendships. It is, oh, this is the person I want to sit next to. Okay. So they haven't, you know, determined that they like the same kind of animals, or, you know, they both want to be ballerinas, or they both want to be basketball stars. They've just learned this is a person who likes to play the way I like to play. So that's the other thing that is great about toddlers. So I want to encourage you to look at the form, the what is it like to be a toddler, and get ready for your quiz, short little quiz, and I will see you in the world of preschoolers, and we will learn why they draw the same picture over and over and over. Okay, I think that'll be good. Thanks.